Hi, this is David Meltzer, speaker, author, entrepreneur, the chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute, and you're listening to Scoop B Radio.
A man who wears many hats: speaker, author, sports executive, motivational speaker to be exact, and the chairman of the board. David Meltzer joins us on Scoop B Radio. Brother, what's going on?
Man, I'm so excited. Everybody in this neighborhood has so much energy and so much imagination. And one of the greatest lines that I use in life is you never will overachieve your own imagination. In other words, you never will overachieve your own self-image. And the self-image created by the Scoop B Radio community is one of expansion. We are elevating the frequency, the vibration to elevate the awareness in a time where it's so needed to unite our community together, to appreciate our differences. And I'm just so excited to be here to do just that.
And I didn't pay the man to say that either. He said it from his chest. He said it from his heart. And the feeling is mutual, Mr. Meltzer. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Let's get to it.
Of course. So tell me something. You are in a very interesting situation because you have your hands in so many different things. You cross so many different people in a good way, of course. And I look at the landscape of sports and how many bowl games there are. There are a lot. And you were part of the Rose Bowl committee for years, correct?
Correct. Yes, on the board of the Rose Bowl for many, many years until I moved to SoFi Stadium. That aggravated them that I was in a $5.5 billion brand new stadium instead of the granddaddy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When you look at, the expansion of arenas that are in the LA area these days, you also have Intuit in Inglewood, in addition to Crypto.com. I refuse to call it crypto, I call it Staples. But when you look at the innovation of arenas, particularly the Clippers, you being a former Clipper ball boy yourself, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
What do you make of all of this?
Well, I think it's an aspect of virtual reality, AR, VR, holograms, and all of the different digital representations and communications that exist today, because we are in need of human momentum. And there's no better place to capture human momentum than a stadium, arena, an event center. And that's why the tickets for Taylor Swift are ridiculous. That's why the World Series tickets in New York and in LA were ridiculous. It doesn't matter where the stadium, arena, or event occurs. People are needy and need to be fed the combination of in-person with the immersive technology that exists today. And when you look at Intuit and you look at Staples, because I'm with you, brother, Staples / crypto. When you look at SoFi, my home, and even the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, which has less immersive experience than any other stadium in the country, it's the granddaddy, it still has more energy that is created by the virtual world. And there's a greater need now to get out of your house and go share an experience with 20, 50, 120,000 people. It's a different energy and a different experience. And I love the combination of in-person and the immersive technologies that are available today.
They got the brilliant idea to put USB chargers stations in the seats. How could we not have figured that out a long daggone time ago?
It's crazy. What about just having processing speed? You know, in the old days, it didn't matter if you had internet in the stadium, it couldn't handle all the phones. You know, and now most people don't realize how much processing speed has meant to sports, because people can communicate and get data and additional immersive information while they're watching a game. And someday, without the latency in the network and more security in the network, we're going to have a valuable experience we don't have today, which is instantaneous polling. What do I mean by that? Imagine, whether you're gambling or not, to be able to pick a play, or whether they're going to pass or run, strike or ball, home run or strikeout. If it's instantaneous, we're allowed now to poll real time, which creates all types of gambling and gaming, as well as entertaining value to a game that has never been seen before, because now you're really value adding in person. What we only can do in our living with a few people, we now can do anywhere and everywhere when we're at a $5.5 billion stadium or on our couch.
It just sucks that the whole Kawhi Leonard situation is what it is in a world where, people want to buy tickets. People want to see their favorite star, but you still do have James Harden, Ivica Zubac, and Tyronn Lue's roster nonetheless.
Yeah, well, you're looking at a Kawhi fan because I grew up in San Diego. I remember San Diego State Aztecs when they had Michael Cage and Tony Gwynn as a basketball player, a point guard going to the Sweet 16. And so seeing Kawhi really rejuvenating San Diego State as a school, as you've seen, by the way, especially with NIL, how an individual athlete or a coach like Primetime can increase applications 3 times to the university and can bring 10 times the amount of money to a school simply from one player like Kawhi Leonard or like a coach like Primetime. And then when they go pro, they're carrying not only a huge college following, but now whatever team or league they're playing for, they have that additional community of people that want to see them not only in person, but on their phones, TVs, pads, etc.
Yeah, you said a mouthful there. And we have I guess you could say a 6-degree separation. You being a former ball boy for the Clippers and me being a former radio host for the Nets when I was a kid. Michael Cage was the backup center on the New Jersey Nets when I was a kid at 12 years old. So that's a full circle.
Nice.
He was
a nice guy. I guarantee he was nice to you.
Oh, he definitely was. And he actually sat down with us on Scoopy Radio last month, and we talked about a bunch of stuff. He's over at FanDuel Sports covering as the color commentator for the Oklahoma City Thunder now.
Yep. He's a great guy, and I get to talk to him every once in a while as well. So we're both blessed, like you said, to have the 1 degree of separation, and there's so many other people that I'm sure, both being former ball boys, that we have met, known, and communicate with on our shows.
Yeah, and I'm getting Billy Crystal and Forget Paris vibes from the movie, of course, and of course, being a Clippers fan himself, just like you, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And that was a poignant moment in my life, though, being a Clippers fan for several reasons. And it taught me the difference between superstars, as I have a video and a lot of articles about my opinion of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Dr. J when I was a ball boy for the Clippers. One of those two treated me poorly the first game I ever was in the visitors' locker room, which would be Kareem. And one of them changed my life because he was so kind, supportive, and encouraging, which is Dr. J. And the reason I tell you that story, Scooby, is that people in my career, they forget a valuable lesson. Tony Gwynn knew it. Michael Cage knows it. It's called be kind to your future self. And, Dr. J had no idea when I was 14 years old as a ball boy that someday the most common question I would get from the biggest news stations in the world, the most content in the world, millions of people watch this video when they ask me who's the coolest player that I've ever met who had an impact on my life. He had no idea that I'd be that guy when I was 14, but he still treated me like an equal or even better. And he was so gracious and kind. And I've told literally tens of millions of people how kind Dr. J is and how cool he is. And unfortunately for Kareem, what a dick he was.
Well, those stories don't surprise me. I've dealt with them. But I'll say you're a lot more outspoken about it than I will be. So we aren't that far removed from having the same opinion. I'll tell you that.
Needless to say, everyone, you feel comfortable saying what you like, but your reputation precedes you, and the man behind you is one of my favorite as well, number 8. And he represents a mentality that I've utilized and was a friend of mine before he passed. And he had such a great impact on also hundreds of millions of people around the world.
Of course, number 8, you're talking about Kobe Bryant. Which did you like better as a player, 24 or 8?
Whew. I will have to go with 24.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Is there a reason why?
Only because I shared my seats at the time with Diane Cannon on the baseline there. And her probably got to know 24 better than 8. So my personal experience probably sways me emotionally to liking 24.
Listen, we've even talked about different players. We've talked about our credentials. We've talked about fandom. But the one thing I want to give credit where credit is due is your book. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Well, I've written 8 books, but the number one book is called Connected to Goodness. And it's a roadmap to empower people to live in abundance. It's a guidepost of making a lot of money to help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. In other words, those are the criteria for joy, happiness, ease, harmony in your life. And so I'm on a mission to empower over 1 billion people in my journey. I've reached this stage in my life where I only want to empower others and give back. So I give my book away for free. I pay for shipping. I sign the book. So anyone in your community out there that wants to live an abundant life, I've created from the dummy tax. So it's not out of the ether. I paid the dummy tax. It's not the mistakes that make you a failure. It's the lack of commitment that will make you a failure. And I've always been committed to being of service and of value to my community and my world. And so I want to give back. Please email me directly, put it in the notes, David@dmeltzer. You can see it on the license plate back there, David@dmeltzer.com. And I will sign a copy of my book. I will pay for the book and shipping. And I'd love to have you and everyone else join my community as well. And can't wait to do more with you.
Okay, I'm with it. Make sure you email them in. You heard it. We have it on the bottom of the screen, and we will make sure that folks lock in to make that happen. Scoopy Radio with the incomparable of David Meltzer, talking all things hoops, books, and everything in between. You are a Napoleon Hill fellow. Did I get it right?
Yeah, I just was appointed the chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute. So Think and Grow Rich, Outwitting the Devil, a lot of Napoleon Hill's teachings that came from people like Rockefeller, Carnegie, and many more, of thinking, dreaming about what you want. We talked about limiting our imagination or our self-image, and we never will overachieve what we can dream and perceive. And so Think and Grow Rich has had not only a major impact in my life, but so many other great entrepreneurs, sports legends, and executives. And so when I was appointed the chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute to revitalize and amplify all the great works of Napoleon Hill, some which have never been seen before, and go ahead and utilize what I've learned about traditional and digital marketing in order to facilitate even a bigger impact than Napoleon Hill has had over the last 100 years. It's the greatest, for me, appointment of my life, and it will be a big part of my legacy for my children, my grandchildren, and great-grandchildren to come.
I like it. You answered all my questions. Is there anything that I didn't ask that you want to talk about?
I have had such an eclectic journey in technology, venture, and sports, media, and now even in the inspirational side. I speak around the world to help empower others. And the only question that I like to answer is, what's the best piece of advice that you can give everyone out there in your community? So if you wouldn't mind asking me what piece of advice, I'd gladly answer.
He held the mirror and asked himself the question. The floor is yours, sir.
Right on. So through my journey, I think that people lack one skill set, and it's the most powerful skill of humility. And that skill of humility requires one piece of advice, which is ask for help. See, the fastest way to get to where you want to be or better is to find someone that's already there and ask them for assistance, ask them for directions. My prayer every morning, and I hope you share my prayer, is may God put at least 10 people in front of me that I can help, but more importantly, may put 10 people in front of me that can help me so I can help others. You see, the more you give, the more you're given. The more you're given, the more you can receive. And the more you receive, the more you can ask for. And then you would have more than more, be able to give more than more, be given more than more, be receiving more than more, and ask for more than more than more. So instead of living a zero-sum game, giving to receive, go ahead and live in abundance and ask for more. And that's the best piece of advice I can give to people. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds. Scoop B, I can't wait to have you on my shows, and I appreciate it. I can't wait to see you. Let's catch a game together, my brother.
I'm with it. I'm in and out of LA quite frequently, so we will definitely make that work.
Anytime. Thank you so much.
You're off the hot seat, sir.
You got it, brother. I'll be in New York too. November 15th, I'll be there doing a mastermind VIP dinner. We're doing a thing with UFC 309. Love to get together. So invitations, not obligations, are coming your way.
I'm with it. Thank you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.